the project that we're looking to do. Is that okay? That we're looking to do in the next fiscal year. So pretty much, like I said, if you had an opportunity to review the report, you know, all the numbers are reflected there. I don't know, did everybody else hear that message? But anyway, we are working with each of the department heads next week to work on the amendment for this current budget. And that will go to the finance committee on January 18th. So that's proposed to be on the 18th because we're closed on the 17th with a start time of 5:30 preceding our Board of Trustees meeting. If there aren't any specific questions, there isn't much change from the prior month.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
The clerk, when we discussed this in department head with our clerk, she mentioned that we might need to make this like a budget workshop so that all the trustees could be present. So I just wanted to put that out there on everybody's radar.
What date are we doing that?
So we're doing it next on the 18th, right before the BOT meeting. So I'm not sure if it's still possible now that we move remotely, but the chair of the committee had mentioned, you know, inviting the rest of the trustees to that meeting, and the clerk informed us that that would be it would be against the Opens Meeting Act.
Yeah, so is this the meeting that I requested that we do as our special quarterly meeting?
Not that I'm aware of. This is just our regular FAGT meeting. And because we're looking to do an amendment and amending, you know, the ARPA funds, we just thought that it would be a good idea to invite the rest of the board, mostly to get input on the ARPA. If your presence is an issue, we could work through that, but it will be presented at the CAL, you know, for everyone to chime in then.
So yeah, so I did request in regards to amendments to be made to the budget and for us to discuss the ARPA, for it to be our special quarterly meeting that we have as a board. So it's not the traditional. The FGAT is discussing in regards to the finances of what you guys are discussing, but this was the meeting that I did request that we had as our quarterly check-in with all the trustees for specific topics to talk about budget amendments that need to happen for the remainder of the year, and then the ARPA funding. So if we could establish a date at a later time by polling the board, but that shouldn't be a FAGT meeting. That should be a regular special meeting specifically as a quarterly update to talk about budget amendments and ARPA funding spending.
Mayor?
Trustee Jones?
Yeah, so just to clarify, so these topics that Director Satchel talked about, I mean, these are items that we're going to talk about at our fiscal accountability meeting, and we're going to make recommendations. Now, whether or not we have a special meeting or however we want to do it as a board, I'm okay with that. But the idea is that, excuse me, these items are on our agenda and we're going to discuss them and we're going to make recommendations. And so we just wanted to take an opportunity to invite the board. You know, we thought whether, because these are open meetings anyway that we're having, that, you know, the board could come and chime in, just because like these conversations are, you know, they're very grand in nature, and have a lot of moving parts. And you know, I think it would really benefit the trustees if they can make it. If they can't, no worries. And maybe we can, since we're going to be in a remote environment, maybe we can have a platform so trustees can chime in, hopefully to where we can address the Open Meetings Act issue if there is one. But, you know, these committee meetings are open meetings in general. So we're going to discuss these items and make recommendations. And wherever it falls, you know, whether it's committee as a whole or some sort of special quarterly meeting, we'll, you know, oblige for that. But we're going to address these things as a committee and make recommendations, because that's, you know, anything pertaining to finance, we want to make sure that we're giving recommendations on that. So
sure, you're welcome to do that. This was a meeting that was requested as a special board meeting to discuss amendments last year. So your committee is more than welcome to discuss and recommend, but I would like for this to be a special meeting for the entire board to have discussion in regards to budget amendments, as we have a few more months left within the fiscal year budget, and to discuss ARPA funding. So if you guys discuss it in your committee, that's perfectly fine if that's on your agenda to discuss. But as I said, this was the meeting that we agreed to have back in the end of June when we had our first quarterly meeting. So I'm just trying to make sure that we don't stay on top of quarterly meetings with specific topics as we had already agreed to and discussed. But you're more than welcome to put whatever on your agenda for committee as you like. Trustee, I'm sorry, Attorney Jarusic.
Yeah, I would just like to echo concern about, complying with the Open Meetings Act. If you're going to have a finance committee meeting, that should be a committee meeting, and we, should not board to come in and participate in that. Even though it's an open, it's really a committee meeting. The rest of the trustees there, turns it into a special board meeting, and it would have to be posted as such. So you're holding it as a committee meeting, get your recommendation out from the public. Doesn't mean a trustee or the mayor can't, everybody can't show up and be invited to participate, as a board in a committee meeting. You've turned it into a village board meeting at that point.
All right, thank you for the clarification. So if we could just, we'll get a poll done and work with Ms. Banks to make sure all the board members are available to be able to have that as a special board meeting. All right, does anybody have any other comments or questions in regards to the monthly financial report? All right, so we want to move to 8, public comments.
Mayor, I haven't received any public comment requests.
All right, village president report. So A, status and photo in regards to active economic redevelopment projects and overall just community development things that are going on. So again, just screen sharing really quickly. Earlier, or at the end of last year, around the new year, at the end of last year, we broke ground in June, July in regards to the old Baptist retirement home renovation off of 4th and Pine. That renovation will feature 83 studio units and 17 one-bedroom units. The construction project is creating 120 construction-related jobs and 80 permanent jobs. We did a tour of the facility with Celadon in regards to their showcasing where they are so far in the renovation process. At that tour, we had Congressman Davis, Cook County Clerk Karen Yarborough, myself was there, Trustee Jones was there, Trustee Brandon was there as well, along with other community members, where we were able to tour the facility. The facility will also have a movie theater, a medical clinic area. We'll have 3 meals a day served in the cafeteria, as the rooms will have a mini kitchenette, but it will not have a full kitchen and they will not have a stove in them. So applications for the facility should start early second quarter of this year. And I'm pretty sure it will fill up fairly quickly. So just showcasing where they are in regards to the upgrade and updating status of that facility that stood alone. Also want to highlight one of our businesses, which is Goddess Accessories. They recently had their 1-year anniversary. They're located at 709 South 5th Avenue. They are open Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and from 12 to 7 on Saturday. So you can support local. They have various accessories, they have clothing, they have coats. So I want to just highlight those businesses that are in celebration of their 1st-year anniversary, while also celebrating businesses that are coming, to making sure that we're supporting all of our local businesses. Another business to highlight is Rich Attitude. So highlighting them because not only do they sell apparel and clothing wear, they're located at 705 South 5th Avenue. They also did a special story time and pajama jam presentation with a special storyteller back in December for the kids. They also had some pop-up shops, and they also participated in the United Front toy drive that took place last month. So just wanted to highlight three businesses or three developments going on in the village of Maywood so that we can always see that there are things taking place within the village of Maywood. We have 9B, that's the executive order number 201-02, executive order of the village president of the village of Maywood, remote meeting option. So in looking at the ordinance in regards to the order, this is showcasing based on what we discussed earlier, which our COVID rates are going up in a drastic way. Until we can get past the holiday season where we had a lot of travel, parties and things like that, it's simply going into remote status where we had to go into executive order to be able to have meetings to not violate Open Meetings Act. So this meeting is one of those meetings that doesn't violate the Open Meetings Act, just showcasing that to assist the village residents is the community at large to deal with the negative health impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'll declare the open and closed meetings with a quorum of the village board members and a quorum of the health concerns associated with the emergency. So therefore, until such a time as the Illinois governor suspends the declaration of disaster related to COVID-19 or this executive order is withdrawn by the village president, all meetings of the village board of trustees, as well as all meetings of the other village boards, committees, commissions shall be conducted remotely pursuant to the provisions and requirements of section 2-01 and 7 of the Open Meetings Act and the village's declaration of state of emergency number 2021-01. Any elected official, staff member, interested party, or a member of the public wishing to physically present at an open public meeting shall have the opportunity to do so, and the village hall shall remain open to the public. All persons physically in attendance at open meeting, public meetings shall abide by all meeting restrictions as authorized by the Open Meetings Act and the CDC directive to social distancing guidelines and current Illinois governor disaster proclamation and governor's executive order. So to read more in regards to that ordinance, you can just go to bit.ly/Maywood-EO-2021-02. And again, this executive order is just in place until we can get a stronger hold on our COVID numbers. Again, just as a reminder, the village of Maywood has the lowest amount of completely vaccinated residents. We have one of the highest amounts of deaths at a number of 56 right now in regards to COVID. And recently, just since the month of December going into current, over the last 35 days, we've seen over 600 people test positive for COVID. So I just want to make sure that people are diligently staying protected, staying safe, and staying informed. Again, if you would like to get vaccinated, a booster shot, or if you'd like to learn more or a test, you can go to www.circle.org/resources, or you can call 708-316-8882. Item number C is a status regarding the Cook County Department of Public Health issues mitigation order amid the latest COVID surge. So in looking at the midst of the COVID surge that has taken place with COVID-19, we're looking at what the Cook County Public Health Department has put out. So the mitigation order has gone into effect as of January 3rd, 2022. So just some quick frequently asked questions in regards to it. It's what does fully vaccinated mean? It means an individual who was considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after their second dose in a 2-dose series with an approved COVID-19 vaccine, such as Pfizer or Moderna, or 2 weeks after a single dose series with an approved COVID-19 vaccine, such as Johnson & Johnson vaccine. This is based on current CDC definition and may change according to CDC guidelines. Next question, what types of businesses are covered by this order? Indoor dining establishments, including bars, breweries, wine, spirit tasting rooms, restaurants, private clubs, country clubs, banquet halls, dining areas within any public business that is ancillary to the main business, cafes within grocery stores, other retail, etc., coffee shops, food courts, and food halls, event space, including hotel ballrooms and commercial event and party venues and nightclubs, recreation and entertainment venues in areas where food or beverages are served, including movie theaters, live performance spaces, including live theater and live music sports arenas, skating rinks, spectators, adult entertainment venues, arcades, bowling alleys, play spaces, family entertainment centers, billiard halls, and venues for card playing, and all indoor settings for recreation and exercise, including health clubs, gyms, fitness centers, hotel fitness centers, recreation centers, yoga studios, CrossFit studios, cycling studios, dance studios, skating rinks, field house, boxing and kickboxing gyms, and other facilities conducting group fitness classes indoors. And then how you will show your proof of vaccination. You would show your CDC COVID-19 vaccination report card. So to read more in regards to the mitigation order, you can go to the Cook County Public Health Department website, or you can type in bit.ly/CC -COVID -201-21-11. So that is in regards to the mitigation order. 10, we'll go on to village manager report. And that's A, regarding status of current waste collection and disposal contract, Allied Disposal Services of North America LLC, and proposal for new waste disposal and collection contract presentations, LRS, and recycling with the cover memo dated December 29th from Kleinthorpe and Jenkins. So this matter has been referred to the Infrastructure Sustainability Committee to hear the presentations and make a recommendation to the committee of the whole on February 22nd. So LRC and our current vendor, Recycle Services, will both be present and present at the Infrastructure and Sustainability Committee meeting. In regards to that, Village Manager, did you want to update that?
Thank you, Mayor. Did you say February 22nd?
No, so the committee meeting is January 27th.
January.
It's in the memo that they'll give a recommendation at the February 2022 committee as a whole.
All right. Just want to mention to the board that because the contract expires in April, we may need to extend with the current vendor. If necessary, just to make sure that we have uninterrupted coverage should the board decide to go with a different vendor. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. So we have 11, Village Attorney Report, agenda item none. 12, Trustee Committee Report. We have under Trustee Committee Report recommendation regarding proposed sale. So we discussed the proposed sale, but I think the Planning and Development Committee meeting was canceled in the month of December. So they will be discussing this matter in the month of January at their committee meeting, and then bringing that back to committee of the whole to discuss. Fiscal accountability and government transparency, none. Community public safety, community policing and public safety. We have Trustee Peppers. We have line item, community safety and police accountability info. Trustee Peppers.
Go ahead. You go ahead and read it. My computer.
Okay. All right. So in looking at the memo and the detail concerned, Trustee Peppers, along with co-chair Trustee Lightford, in regards to their committee, are providing the recommendations of 1, items radios. So 61 mobile unit, 3 camera software, license plate readers, LPR brand Motorola at a total cost of $281,000. $889.79. And that was a proposal given by the Maywood Police Department in regards to radios that we are required to upgrade and switch over into a new system by mandate. 2, 1 mobile unit of 1 3-camera software, license plate LPR reader brand, Vigilant Solutions. That total cost is $35,931. 3, LPR annual subscription to Systems Access, 51 to 100 data access brand Vigilant Solutions. Total cost $9,995. 4, memorandum of understanding for the Department of Veteran Affairs Police for mutual assistance. That is a proposal from the Maywood Police Department 016. Also have some updates in regards to the fire department, NICOR safety thermostat initiative. So the village sets the hardship criteria starting at 1,500 individuals. And then traffic and safety as a committee discussed temporary speed bumps on 5th, 9th, 11th, 17th, 9th Prairie Path, South Maywood Drive, 16th, 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th, and North Maywood Drive, 11th, 12th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And then also recommendations for safety crossing at the Prairie Path for cross lights for pedestrians, looking at flashing stop signs on 5th and Quincy, Lexington and 9th, Quincy, Lexington Avenue at 11th, 13th, 15th, 16th, 17th, North Maywood Drive, South Maywood Drive, 15th and 11th, 12th and 19th Madison, 19th Madison and Oak, 19th and Oak Street, 35 South 19th Avenue in the rear. And for those two in regards to speed bumps and flashlight signs and cross street safeties, waiting on pricing to come from Director West. So I believe this is a recommendation for us as we are discussing the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget, where we can see where this funding can be allotted to accommodate these public safety concerns. Does anybody have any questions?
Mayor.
Village Manager Wells Armstrong.
Yeah, I just want to level expectations. I know a lot of times community will make these requests, and Bill, I'm not sure if our village engineer is on the call, but when you start installing additional traffic signals, there's usually a process that we have to go through with IDOT. I believe there's some data, accident data that they look at, and I'm just giving a rough number. I think it's like 3 accidents within 5 years, or there's a criteria that they have to warrant and justify additional traffic signs and protocols. So I just want to be sure that we level expectations, and I can certainly follow up with Bill, our village engineer, to confirm that. But obviously the committee was working hard and did great work. But again, just want to level expectations.
Thank you, Village Manager Wells Armstrong. It might be good, Trustee Peppers, to have maybe Bill from Hancock attend the next public safety meeting after he's reviewed what crossings you're referring to. Then maybe by the next calendar, when we're discussing fiscal year 2022-2023, we'll have the dollar amounts as well as where it's practical to do it, and just transparency and where it's not, maybe might not be the most practical. But that could be something that could be discussed in your next meeting if Bill is available from Hancock to review, and then I'll go over that with you during the meeting or prior to.
That sounds great.
All right. So D, we have engagement and communications. Recommendation regarding a reinstatement of Maywood Youth Delegation. Recommendation regarding application for community mule grant through the National Endowment of Arts. Trustee Brandon.
Yeah, so we had some discussion on getting youth back involved as we see resources are coming available at the state and federal level, just to get students from Proviso, Area High School, Proviso Louise, MSA, as well as Walter Luther Christian Academy, involved in the conversation to help advocate on behalf of their community. With the current surge in the COVID numbers, we're looking at different ways to get them involved and to bring them into the fold as far as the conversation is concerned, and working with through different avenues. So whether it be through the federal level or even at the state level, as resources are available to have you be a part of the conversation and to get them re-engaged. And so we discussed, everybody was pretty much on board with this concept. We're bringing this night for approval to move forward to the general meeting. The second item, there's a grant available. There was a lot of conversation over the past few years about doing some creative things with murals across the town. There was conversation along the ferry path as well as some signature areas across the village. And so this is an opportunity that's been provided for us to get, to partner with our local organizations, the two organizations I had in mind, like this would be a neighborhood, would be Operation Uplift, as well as the team up with they will find arts to pursue this opportunity to get the community involved in this particular initiative that could be really exciting to do something in the arts across the town. And so we also as a passionate as far as this grant is concerned about some of the areas that it covers. And so we're looking to move this along for consideration as well.
So I'm looking at in the grant. So we're not looking at the February 10th deadline of the first grant. You're looking at the July 7th.
Yeah, with the time constraints and because of the holiday, the July.
Okay. I mean, well, I think it would be great for us to get a proposal in regards to what exactly we're looking for. This grant would be an application. It looks like where projects are funded in the various disciplines. So it looks like Maywood, either if we're working with Maywood Fine Arts or if we're working with Operation Uplift, they would be the ones actually applying for it. And then we would be providing the letter of support. And then there seems to be a 50% match. So an understanding of what the project is, what the actual cost of the project would be, and then how we're going to go about raising or producing the 50% match of what the actual project would be, I think would be great. So it looks like a good, worthwhile project. We just need information in regards to what group would be working the grant and then what would be their expectation in regards to how much they're applying for and what that match means to the village of Maywood. So I think it's a good idea, but looking forward to an update. We got until July. We got time. Then talking about the youth delegation. I think the youth delegation is a great idea. I sit on the Youth Education and Families Council for the National League of Cities, working with the various different youth delegations. So I think it would be great to see what that proposal actually looks like in regards to the village of Maywood. I know there are some communities that partner with their school districts, some partner with their park districts, some partner just specifically with the village. What community service hours would they be required to do? What civic engagement would be a focus? So just an actual proposal of what the youth engagement program would look like for our youth and how it's going to be sustainable on a continuous basis, I think would be, again, a great idea to bring back with some sustainability to it.
So what we're looking for this is already a platform for this. And so we're just looking forward to move forward with the platform that's been set. So each school that service, each high school that service Maywood, like I mentioned earlier, in regards to the three schools, Roger Michael Science Academy, as well as Washington Christian Academy. Students are selected from their schools, by their schools, to who are Maywood residents represent as part of this council. They are involved in quarterly meetings to come together to discuss different projects they can engage in that help impact or make an impact in their community, while also looking at different avenues to help advocate for resources as well. So this is something that's been in place for about 6 years. 6 years, and so we were looking to reformulate it with the help of the community engagement director, Ms. Banks, to strengthen the structure and to do some of the things that you just mentioned. We're just looking forward to strengthen the structure of this program.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We look forward to seeing the presentation on what that structure would be. Does anybody have anything else in regards to the youth delegation or the community mural grant? Okay. E, infrastructure and sustainability. None. F, recommendation regarding ordinance amending section 3105 Community Development Department and related sections of the Maywood Village Code relative to the Community Development Department and Building Code with recommendation memo and policy committee dated. So the memo is from Kleinthorpe and Jenkins, but again, the ordinance and policy committee meeting did not meet in December. So they'll have their meeting in January and then we'll discuss this further. Trustee Reyes-Plummer?
That's incorrect. We actually did meet.
Oh, you did meet?
Yes, we did. We had a meeting, and for that recommendation, we recommended to consider the changes proposed by the village attorney as submitted under the memo dated December 1st of 2021.
I was looking at the memo. It was from Kleinthorpe and Jenkins. So you guys didn't have the planning and development committee meeting, which I had.
Correct, because not all members were available that day.
So who was available for the ordinance and policy committee?
It was all three of us, Trustee Sanchez, myself, and Clerk Diane.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm looking at this. All right, so I was actually under the impression that you guys hadn't met yet. So does anybody have any questions in regards to a request of the enclosed following documents review and consideration at the December 7th committee as a whole meeting? Recent ordinance. So separated out. So we separate. I'm sorry. I was looking at this as you guys said. All right. Trustee Brandon, while I'm doing this.
Okay, so what I was looking, Trustee Plummer, what I was looking for, and I didn't see it, it was a memo or recommendation. So from your committee in regards to what the conversation was or what the outcome was.
Yeah.
So I was confused when I saw it because I saw it on the agenda, but I was confused as to what the conversation or the outcome was. So you're saying that the outcome or the conversation was to accept the attorney recommendation, but the attorney is not making any recommendation. The attorney is simply putting it in order based on a request that was made by, I believe it's the manager, according to his memo. So you guys had conversations to approve the changes within the department and that, which is to have the individual who is the planner to have her own division within the village versus having that individual to work with the director of economic development. So yeah, I was kind of concerned about doing that or creating another division. To me, it appears to be a little redundant in regards to having all of these divisions when it could be a smoother process, working with going through community development. I think that the individual that she's fairly new to the community. The young lady who just came to the village, fairly new to the village, in regards to zoning and all of these other issues. So I'm just trying to figure out how do we, I guess, come to the conclusion.
So even though, I'm sorry to interrupt, even though she's fairly new, she has a lot of
Trustee-
experience. Sorry.
Trustee Brandon wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't done.
No, go ahead.
Even though she's new to the village, she has a lot of experience in this field, as when she got up and spoke and let us know all her experience that she did have, and what we are actually recommending for the changes more clearly identifies that the village planner's duties and the position reported directly to the village manager rather than the community development department. And that's all that was about, really.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If that's what it was about, why are we making this recommendation?
It was brought, go ahead, I'm sorry, if that's okay.
Trustee
Mayor.
Peppers did, and then Trustee Reyes-Plummer.
So it was brought to myself that we had to, it was originally on the village meeting for, if I'm not mistaken, for December, and it was retracted and brought to my committee, and that we had to agree on this process being changed. And we agreed upon it with the attorney's recommendation or suggestion, the way he put it. And that's what, that's how we came up with this, that all directors should be reporting to the village manager and not other directors.
But the planner isn't a director.
Well, she's a department head, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No,
The planner's not a department head.
no. So what are we doing? If I can have
I think there's okay, so it seems to be some confusion around this. We're
Yeah.
reading a memo from the attorneys, where the attorneys just provided information in regards to updating what the ordinance would read if we were to go through with this. So I think more so the attorneys showcase what the edits would be of what it would look like if we were to do this. I think the overall sentiment that I'm hearing is we just separated the building and code and the community development department. So now the director of community development essentially only has the planner and whomever will be, who her previous role was, replacement. So if we're creating two different divisions, I guess the confusion is,
A lot of it.
even though the attorneys gave us a template of what the change would look like, trying to fully understand why this change is necessary within 3 to 4 months after we've made these changes and officially brought on the new director and brought on the new planner, I think is more so where the board is trying to understand what the committee's recommendation is versus what the recommended ordinances updates could be. Am I saying this right?
Correct, yes. Also, the village manager can speak more onto it, being as though, obviously, she put it on the agenda and it was brought to me because it had to come to my committee first.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Trustee Brandon, then Village Manager Wells Armstrong.
So you're absolutely on point when it relates to creating another director position within such a small department. It just seemed, as I stated, redundant. I don't know if the planner was present at the 13th or the December 13th meeting. And for me, I think it's a smooth process, a more seamless process to have her to work in conjunction with the director of economic development or community development versus to create this whole another division. And I really actually have more questions of why or what was the thought behind this. And this is why we need to have like these larger conversations about, okay, so how do we see the village, or what direction we see the village going in from a holistic approach versus having like these pop-up situations, not really having a full explanation as to how do we end up here, why do we end up here, what's the purpose of this? This to me just seems totally redundant to have this person to be a director and not to have this individual report to the director of economic, because they work hand in hand. They work in tandem with each other. So why would you create another layer of hierarchy versus having them to work together? Just don't make any
All right, Village Manager Wells Armstrong.
Thank you, Mayor. So for clarification, the attorney was simply providing information in terms of an ordinance change that would need to happen. I have been assessing the departments. I spoke with him about a structural change. This is not creating a director. This is not creating a different department. This is to have the planner report directly to me. This is common in other municipalities. The role of the planner in Maywood, what it looked like is very different based on the skill sets that we have between the two individuals that held that position and the direction that we're moving in. And I know that when the current employee that's in that position spoke at one of the meetings that Trustee Reyes-Palmer referenced, it's just a different skill set between the two. This person would report directly for me, and if there's some specifics, I can discuss those with you all in executive session. If you have some specific questions or concerns. But Trustee Brandon, I'm not creating a new division. I do treat the current planner as a director because of her unique role. This was simply allowing her to report directly to me, and the attorney presented you all with the language change that would need to be made in the ordinance in order for her to report directly to me for that employee.
Okay, wait. So I guess was the village planner or the director of community development present at the committee meeting where this recommendation went through?
Was the planner or the community development director, you're asking, present at a committee meeting?
So if the director, I'm trying to find out from the trustee, if we were discussing separating into two different divisions, a department head's department.
Yes, she will still be under the same department. She's just reporting to me.
Well, I got that. But was this a discussion, I guess, for the department head as it's a change to her department. So was this a discussion at the committee meeting, or was this reading the language change that would happen as an ordinance amendment? So was this an actual discussion with the department head and with the planner, or was this a discussion based on a potential ordinance change?
This was a
Did you
discussion
have-
based on the actual ordinance change,
Okay.
not as unfortunately Angela was not available that day and she was not there, but no, it was basically based on the language of the ordinance change.
And on my end, I've spoken with the director and the planner. And I'm also, continuing to have conversations with both of them.
Trustee Brandon.
Yeah, it's so,
Okay, so maybe is this a topic that maybe we could move to that special meeting where when we discuss the budget and amendments, because we're also talking about amending a department. So maybe that could be a specific topic of discussion. Because it seems like we're gonna.
No, because, yeah.
There's something like it's.
I mean, I just forgot, I have a whole lot of questions I want to get all night. So
I agree.
Motion to table this item.
Okay, so this is just the cow for discussion, right? So we don't need to table or motion.
So we're gonna
We're
bring it
just
back up.
saying, so when we set the date for the special meeting in regards to the ARPA spending, and we set the date in regards to the budget amendments, can we just add this as a third item of discussion with a little bit more clarity to it versus just the ordinance change? Because right now, it just showcases what the ordinance change would be, not how we arrive to that thought process.
Yeah.
I concur with you, Mayor. Definitely need more.
It seems like there's a lot of things not being, that's not said. So I would prefer to have a further discussion at that particular.
All right, so everybody be in agreement with that. We'll move on to the next item. All right, 13, new business, discussion and recommendation only. Discussion and recommendation regard resolution authorizing the approval and execution of memorandum of understanding MOU between the Village of Maywood on behalf of the Maywood Police Department and United States Department of Veteran Affairs for performance of certain village law enforcement assistance services with the cover memo dated December 29th, 2021. Would anybody be opposed to putting this for approval on the omnibus agenda at the board meeting? Hearing none, we'll move forward with moving this to the omnibus. Item B, discussion and recommendation, resolution authorizing the approval and execution of reimbursement agreement for the payment of certain specialty education and training costs for village employee Carmen Rivera, with the agreement attached as Exhibit A with the cover memo dated December 29th, 2021 from Klein Thorpe and Jenkins LTD. Would anybody have any discussion or be opposed to moving this to the omnibus agenda?
I have a question.
Trustee Brandon.
Attorney Giroux?
I can explain here.
Trustee Brandon, he can hear you.
Attorney Giroux, I have a question.
Wait, did you want to say something before the attorney got asked the question, village manager?
Oh, I didn't know if he was asking.
He's asking Attorney Jaruzic a question.
Would this be considered a new position for her? It appears that there's a new position shaping up with these new responsibilities. Will we need to do anything on our end? I guess to accommodate.
I can speak.
Okay. Village Manager Wells Armstrong, so she can speak to that.
Okay. Trustee Brandon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So we are, of course, working to restructure, and Chief Willis has been doing an analysis of his personnel in the police department. He thought that they would benefit from having a crime analyst Carmen Rivera, as you all know, has been with the village a long time, loves working in the department, showed interest in wanting to get trained for that position. Everything is already under the current budget. So he would be looking to start her, I believe, in the next month or so. She's underwent some of her training. I think she still has a component left. I raised the issue of having the reimbursement agreement because I was just trying to protect the village. Sometimes you invest in employees, they become more marketable. And I'm not saying that she would ever do that, but I proposed this agreement and asked the attorney to draft it so that in the case she did decide to leave, then they would recoup the funds that they've invested in this specific training for her.
So I guess,
Yeah, I do understand that piece. I think that's something that we have for our police officers as well. We invest for lateral training if they leave in a certain amount of time. And I guess I'm trying to figure out, do we need to do anything since a new role is being created? This role doesn't exist currently, right? But since a new role is being created, do we need to do anything from the board?
Right, the role falls under operations, and the chief, based on his authority of the department, can restructure positions. This is a non-union position, so it doesn't affect that. And this is the direction that Chief Willis would like to go in as we, I shouldn't say attack, but address the crime in the village.
so maybe, manager, is it possible for the next committee as a whole, we get an update in regards to Chief's vision and direction of where he is now? He got sworn in beginning of October. So within that, this will be past his 90-day mark. So to see where we are within, what direction is he going in? Because it's also like what's going on with the what's going on with the deputy chief. So maybe if he can provide us an updated vision at the next committee as a whole, that would be great. But I think this agreement is perfectly fine because it protects us. But to Trustee Brandon's point, just us receiving that, he gave the presentation when he applied for the position. So now 100 days later, where are we? Again, I think that would probably be it. Yeah. So that's the fact. All right. So then would anybody be opposed to this agreement being put in the next item of the agenda?
I had a question.
Trustee Peppers.
I understand that it's a non-union position, but is there still procedures and reference posting it, or we just say that she's the one and we're gonna go this way?
If Chief Willis on the call,
Yeah, I'm on the call, ma'am.
he can.
Chief Willis.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? So,
Right.
so this position, you know what? So my vision was to take a position that we already had in place within the current budget and give additional duties and responsibility. The crime analyst position is a hot commodity position throughout a lot of police departments throughout the towns these days. You know, what made us a little bit antiquated because we didn't have this position. So this position is designed to help us as we move forward, so we can start projecting possibly where our next crime and hopefully deterrent that crime as we go along. So to your question, Trustee Pepper, yeah, it's going to be policy and procedures put in place. I already got her in crime analyst programs to assist us as we move forward. Her first product could be done this month, where we'll see where we actually going. As you know, carjacking is a #1 big trend in the village. I mean, in the village, in the Chicagoland area. You know what? Yeah, do I think patrol and investigation? You know what patrol is, after the fact investigation is before, but the thing is, what we need to do is try to deter it. And that's what the crime analysts do. So if you look at the surrounding towns, a lot of towns have crime analysts in place. And they actually have them as police officers at a way higher salary that we're actually paying. So what the village manager was talking about, if you look how when we hire a police officer, we do the exact same thing. because that is a big thing. Because if a police officer comes out of the academy, and we have been through this plenty of time, they will quit on us within the first day and go to another community that pays them more money. So that's where we at with this.
All right.
That's your question, Trustee Peppers?
Yes, part of it. I was just curious about how did we just come with her and.
Well, you know, if the position was already here up under the previous administration, I didn't have the luxury of pulling a police officer into that position. So what I looked through my talent pool and looking through the department, that was the best fit to say, okay, you know what, you're going to double down on this responsibility to assist us as we move forward. I don't have the luxury of pulling a police officer to do this position. You know, a crime analyst doesn't have to be the police. A lot of people get that confused. Doesn't have to be the police. You know, they're more of a cognitive outside thinker. You know, so that's where we at with this.
And would she still hold her current position as well?
Yeah, because you know what, because you think about the community resource officer that she actually had, that ties in what actually is going on. So she can still talk community side of the house as far as the crime analyst. So my goal is when we do have the next public safety meeting, we'll talk about what's going on in the village as a whole and what we're doing to assist the police department as we go about deterring some of the future crimes, hopefully in the days to come.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay, thanks, trustee.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Item C, discussion and recommendation of resolution approving and authorizing the execution of intergovernmental agreement by and between the Village of Maywood and the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services for participation in supplement reimbursement round emergency medical transportation GMT program with cover memo dated December 9th, 2021 from Clydenthorpe Jenkins LTD. Just a quick question, Attorney Jurusik, do we need to reactivate and reauthorize this based on the 2019 approval that we gave that said we didn't need to, it doesn't expire until we remove it?
You know, because we were provided with a new IGA with an updated date, I would recommend we approve it. I did not get any confirmation as to whether our 2020 approval would suffice. So I would recommend that we approve as presented at the next board meeting.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or regard of not having this added to the omnibus agenda for the next board meeting?
We do need to be issue, and that's something that I think maybe the committee can make a recommendation on that, or discuss the chief's recommendation where the fees need to be, because that will require a code amendment. You can do the IGA, and that can easily be approved at the next meeting. If we have to amend the rates with the in the code, I can bring back an updated ordinance at the next meeting as well for you, but I would need some direction to deal with that portion of this action item or agenda item.
I think to make sure that we're able to get this done and executed on, if we could just get what those new rate recommendations would be within this resolution with the memo showcasing what they were and what we're recommending them to be, we could probably approve them both at the same time.
I'll work with the issue in the next week and get you some board meeting.
All right, perfect. All right. Yes. D, discussion and recommendation of village manager request of rollover unused vacation days for use in calendar year 2022. Would anybody be opposed to this being moved to the omnibus agenda? Right? We'll move that on to the D, to the omnibus agenda. I think this was one of those instances that where it was supposed to be added to the last board meeting and it was missed. So we're adding it to the omnibus agenda to formalize the approval of it. You gave a verbal at the board meeting that it would be coming. All right, E, discussion and recommendation of ordinance supporting Maywood Housing Authority Resolution number 2020-04 regarding the dissolution of Maywood Housing Authority and ordinance amending section 123 Maywood Housing Authority regarding dissolution of Maywood Housing Authority cover memo date December 29th, 2021 from Clathrop Jenkins Ltd. Would anyone be opposed to moving this to the omnibus agenda? Trustee Brandon?
Attorney Jerusalem, I thought when we had closed this out, when I was reading this, I thought this was like a done deal already. And I guess how does the Joliet
Housing
merger
Authority.
Work into all of this as well? I thought this was done some time ago.
Attorney Jurusik? You're still muted. Okay.
Yeah, actually, we never really got notice that of the dissolution of the Maywood Housing Authority. We knew that the Joliet Housing Authority took over for the Maywood Housing Authority and assets were transferred over. But it was only recently that we got actually the paper copy of the dissolution resolution. Once that was provided to me just prior to this meeting, I packaged it up and put together our resolution. And I had been waiting for that for some time, but again, it wasn't a high priority matter because it's really just a housekeeping item on our part. So the resolution that's in your packet, the ordinance that's in your packet, acknowledging and supporting the dissolution is again, just a statutory requirement, so approving the ordinance takes care of that. And then there is a minor code amendment, just so the public is aware of what happened to the Maywood Housing Authority, because it was on our books for a number of years. And so both of these items were recommended approved to close this matter out.
All right. So we'll move that to the omnibus agenda. F, discussion and recommendation of ordinance approving change order number 1 to the agreement between the Village of Maywood and J. Notaduli Concrete Incorporated for the performance of construction services for the Warren Street Road Improvement Project, Warren Street from 19th Avenue to 17th Avenue, with cover memo dated December 29th, 2021 from Clathrop Jenkins Ltd. Would anyone be opposed or have a question in regards to adding this to the omnibus agenda? Hearing none, we'll move into the omnibus agenda. G, discussion and recommendation of resolution authorizing the approval and execution of an agreement between the Village of Maywood and Edwin Hancock Engineering Company for furnishing professional engineering services for the I-290 corridor storm sewer separation program and for the appropriation and expenditure of fiscal year 2021 CDBG program funds and general fund to pay for the preliminary and design engineer services and construction engineering services related to the project, with cover memo dated December 29th, 2021 from Clathrop Jenkins Ltd. Would anyone have any questions or be opposed to adding this to the omnibus agenda? All right, so we'll move G to the omnibus agenda. Old business 14A, discussion and recommendation of approval of funding for the implementation of 2021-2022 Village Senior Snow Removal Program and purchase of Bobcat utility blade and snow removal equipment, pricing of $10,620 with a cover memo dated December 29th of 2021 from Public Works Director John West. This was something that was discussed at our last board meeting where we gave a consensus. So we just need to add that to the omnibus agenda to formalize the approval of it. 14B, discussion and recommendation resolution authorizing the approval and execution of an enterprise service agreement with Policy Confluence Incorporated, DBA, POCO, and National Research Center Incorporated regarding ARPA agreement package level 2 services, with the cover memo dated December 29th, 2021, Clathrop and Jenkins. So just formalizing the POCO service agreement. Would anybody be opposed to adding that to the omnibus agenda? All right, we'll move on to 15, other matters. 16, for information only. 17, we'll need to go into a closed meeting session. A, pending litigation per section 5. We are going to pull 17E. Attorney Jerusik, do we have anything aside from 17A to discuss in this one?
No, all I'm aware of is just the pending litigation matter. The other ones would not apply unless anybody else has something to discuss under them.
No, we're gonna.
Well, it's A and B. It's
Probable and imminent litigation.
yeah, that would be more appropriate. The B is the right one to discuss the settlement issue.
All right, so I need a motion to go in.
Going to hold meeting session to discuss item A, pending litigation.
And-
5 ILCS 120-2-C-11. Item B, probable and imminent litigation. 5 ILCS 120-2-C-11.
All right, I had a motion and a second from trustee Lightfoot. Are there any questions? All right, please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez, trustee Reyes Palmer,
Aye.
trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Lightfoot, trustee Peppers,
Aye.
trustee Brandon,
Aye.
and Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, everyone who is not a
8:21.
part of a closed session, have a wonderful night. We're gonna log out and log into executive session Zoom link. If you all don't have it of the board, I'll just send you a reminder email.